All right, 7th grade pre-AP peers, we're doing scale models and maps. So a scale model is a model similar to the actual object it represents. So let's break this down a little bit. It's a model similar. So in other words, it's just a similar shape. So similar figure to the actual object it represents. So in other words, when we took a small square and we multiplied it by a more than one scale factor, which made it an enlargement, that is a scale model. The enlargement is a scale model of the original small one. If we reduce it, it's still a scale model of the original. And that's all we're doing. We're doing similar figures. That's it. Now, the scale of a model is the ratio of the length of the model to the corresponding length of the actual object. So this is what I want you to write down. This is really important. This will help you out. It says the length of the model, so this is model, to the corresponding actual object. So we always do model over actual. So let's do an example. The Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago has a scale model of a human heart that is large enough for people to actually walk through. That's pretty crazy. Look, this little kid walking through it. That's about as tall as y'all are. That's crazy. All right, the height of the model is 16 feet high, which is 6 feet above a basketball goal. The scale used is 1 foot to 9/32 inches. So not quite 1 inch, not even half an inch. What is the height of the actual heart on which the model is based? So remember, I said model over actual. So here it tells us the model is 16 feet. The actual is h. That's what we're trying to find. See? The height of the actual heart. We're trying to find what the heart really was that they made the model out of. So 16 over h. Now we're going to equal that to the scale factor. So we're equaling proportions. We're doing a similar hearts. Here's this heart. It's 16 feet. And we're not really how wide it is. It doesn't matter. What we're trying to do is get to the actual heart. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set this proportion or this ratio so we can have a proportion, so we can cross multiply. So let's look at this. It says 1 foot to 9/32 inches. All right, I wrote it down exactly how they wrote it. Now I'm going to cross multiply. 9/32 times 16. Now this is a hard one, so I'm going to show you. 9/32 times 16. You put 16 over 1 when you multiply fractions. Now I'm going to reduce first before I multiply, so it makes my answer smaller. I know 16 will go into 16 one time. And 16 will go into 32 2 times. So now that when I multiply, top times top, I get 9, because 9 times 1 is 9, over 2 times 1, which is 2. And I can reduce that. 9/2 is the same thing as saying 4.5. So, when I did, let me get a different color here. When I did 9/32 times 16, I get 4.5. So over here I'm going to put 4.5 equals, and now I'm going to do h times 1 foot. So that's h. because 1 times h is h. That tells me that my actual height of my actual heart is 4.5 inches tall. Does that make sense? It's 4.5 inches tall because we did this times this, and then this times this, and it told us that h equals 4.5. And that's all there is to it. It's cross multiplying. It's the same thing we've been doing. All right, here's another example. This is dealing with maps. And maps are basically the same thing. Here we have a multiple choice answer. It says find the distance, the map distance from Columbus, Georgia to Birmingham, Alabama. So the first thing you have to do is find both of them. So let's find Columbus, Georgia. It's right here. And then let's find Birmingham, Alabama. It's right here. We want to find the distance between the two. So it says 1 inch is 75 miles. Right here it tells us that from here to here is 1 3/4 inches, or 1.75 inches. So if that's the case, here I have 1.75 inches, and I want to convert it to miles. So remember conversions? We have to multiply this by something that will convert 1.75 inches to miles. Well, here's the key. It tells us that 1 inch equals 75 miles. Now I want my inches to disappear, so I'm going to put them down here. 1 inch, and then 75 miles up here. Because remember, when we're converting, units cross out. So inches cross out with inches, and now you multiply. 1.75 times 75 is 131.25, and the only units that are left over are miles. So which one's closest? B. And B is your answer. That's all there is to it. These are actually pretty easy. Now, this is not the end. I'm actually going to do one more problem, just to help you out a little bit. Here's a house. It's the actual house. The actual house is 14 feet tall. Now, I want to change this 14-foot house into a scale house. And here's a scale house. It's little bitty. Now, my scale is for every foot, 1 foot, that represents foot, equals, here I'll put it this way, every 1 foot equals 5 inches. All right, so I want to figure out how tall this house is. Well, this is all you have to do. Remember, it's model over actual. So my model right here, we don't know how high it is. So I'm going to put H for model, for the height of the model. And then my actual is 14 feet. I'm going to set it equal to this ratio right here. It says 1 foot equals 5 inches. Now, here's a tricky part. I'm making it smaller, right? So is the 5 inches going to be part of my model or my actual? You're right, it's part of my model because I'm making it smaller. So I'm going to put it up here, 5 inches, because my models are on top. Over 1 foot. Now when I cross multiply, 1 times h, I get h equals 14 times 5. Wow. 14 times 5 is 70. So we have 70 inches. So my scale model is going to be 70 inches tall. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy, huh? Now, I hope you understand this for class tomorrow. Miss Willoughby will be here to help you, and if she's got any problems with y'all, she'll let me know, and you have an automatic D-Haul. So make sure that there are no problems, and I'll see y'all Monday.